All right, so on pages, I've got this one here. I chose, let me speak. I chose research paper, and I see on here words already. Well, here's why there are words. It's so you know what it looks like and where things are going to go. All you're going to do when it's time for you to make it your own, your name's not Ernest Semper. Your parents did not do that to you. So you're going to click on that and put your name. You're going to click on instructor's name and put my name in. You're going to click on course title, and this is your literature course. And when it's time to turn this puppy in, you're going to be clicking on the date and typing in the date that it's going to be due. Probably not until 3 weeks from now. These things, perfection takes time. Yes, Pippa, that is why you're the second child. And then they thought, we've made perfection, let's try again. Now, report name. You're going to click on report name and make it your own. You're going to click on, oh, what does this say? Lorem ipsum dolor sit amet ligula suspendenza nulia. I feel like it's Halloween and I'm making a little curse. You're going to click on that first paragraph and you're going to begin typing your own. Does everyone see how to make Ernest Semper's research paper your own? What people always forget. Click on Semper 1 up here and put your last name. It makes life a little bit easier. And it's already formatted. When this, once it becomes your own, prints out, it has perfect 1-inch margins. It has perfect line spacing. It is in the right font. It is 12 points. You are awesome. It makes life easier. Otherwise, you got to get set up a new document. You got to figure out how to make your margins right. How am I going to get my last name and each other on every page? I mean, it's just too complicated. This is supposed to make life simple. Okay? Now, here's what you've got to decide today. Do you want to do your rough draft? Are you a typer or are you a hand writer? That's what you've got to decide today. Am I a typer or am I a hand writer? Okay? Because we're going to go ahead and get started. So I like to show you by example, and I pulled up one of my favorite term papers. I bet, what are they now, sophomores, juniors, sophomores? I bet they're wondering why I reactivated Ashodi last night. There's their Mice and Men term paper outline. Let's go to the misery paragraph. And I believe Isabel sent me her entire paper. Let's move it over.
I forgot to do the report name.
So, yes, this was not her final. She was sending me her very last paragraph, which is really, we called it the misery paragraph.
Because you're tired
Okay.
of doing it.
So she kept research paper up here. I'd get rid of that because I'm not doing any research. This is a term paper. And in a term paper, you're trying to prove a point. You're trying to prove your case. In many ways, a term paper is written, I believe, having seen it happen many times in my own home over the past 20 years. This is how a lawyer, a trial lawyer, prepares for trial. He or she would make their opening statement. Here's what I'm trying to prove. Here's all the ways I'm going to try to prove it. And then, of course, a different type of writing for when the trial lawyer goes to do their closing statement. In the closing statement, it's not like, here's all the stuff I'm trying to prove. That's not the attitude of a lawyer going into trial. The attitude is, I've taken however much of your time, I have proved it. Let me remind you how I proved it. Go back and make the right decision. So term papers are something that many professions still use. So once again, I would say this right here does remind me of my husband with his opening statements and his closing arguments whenever he's in front of a jury. Yeah, the scary thing is he tries to do it now, not writing anything down, but that's his brain. It's in here. He does organize it that way, but he's not really to the point now where he has to write stuff down like he would have before. I see Morehouse 1 here for her first page. That was good. She's got her name, my name. Only thing I would have done here of Mice and Men should be italicized. When you're typing the title of a book, please italicize it.
How do you
When
do
you
that?
are handwriting it, you should underline it. I would go ahead and type it up, proper capitalization. I would go ahead and select the title and then hit your I for italicize. Clearly, this was a random, this is when we kind of started it. This was not our end date. Trust me, we did not begin writing term papers in July. She's got a date here of August 28th, so we did go back and change that. She eventually decided to just name it of Mice and Men for a report name. Now at this point, she is missing something, but this wasn't her final. She goes straight into the very first paragraph. And the very first paragraph is not going to be your longest one. Your very first paragraph is only going to be about 2 characters. That is some bright sunshine. Her very first paragraph, just like yours, is going to be about the 2 characters who do not have a name. The absence of character names. Underneath her report name, which if you'd like for it to be of Mice and Men, that's fine. We need to, you might want to try cut and paste. We need to get our thesis statement first. So let me show you the first thing you're going to type in your term paper.
How do you italicize?
So, shade it, select it, and then hit I for italics. That's something we can worry about later. But that is how. I'm going back to your term paper outline.
Okay.
I'm going to pull this up for you. Everyone, the very first paragraph of your term paper is only, what is that, 2 sentences. Your very first paragraph, please do not indent, because this is your thesis statement. You are trying to prove this statement in our court of law. So underneath report name right now, you could go ahead and type this. It's part 1 of your outline. You do not need to type thesis statement, we know. You would begin with, in his novel, this is right from your outline, of Mice and Men, comma, Steinbeck depicts the essential loneliness of California ranch life in the 1930s period. He illustrates how people are driven to find companionship. That's from the term paper outline I just sent you. Let me see if I can scroll in, make it larger from here. I can't. Let me see if I can move this forward. No, back.
One side is bigger than the other. It's like a Tim Burton tried to draw a raccoon.
Can y'all see? that okay so you don't feel like you have to go back and forth? People. Hello. Do you see this okay now so you don't feel like you have to go back and forth? All right, on your pages out, underneath your report name. I know it's only 2 sentences, but it's the thesis statement. It's going to act as your first paragraph. Let's just go ahead and get this puppy started. Type this. Do not type thesis statement. Type in his novel, Of Mice and Men, comma, Steinbeck depicts the essential loneliness of California ranch life in the 1930s period. He illustrates how people are driven to find companionship. And right now you can find that in two places. Up here, but it's part 1 of your term paper outline on Shobi. Yes, Ben?
You want us to copy that down? That's what you said?
That is your first full paragraph underneath report name on your Pages app. Are you on your Pages app right now? Are you on Pages? Did you choose research paper?
You can underline stuff with pages.
Don't want to underline stuff, and I don't want to. There's no need to underline a thing in our term paper. Do you have research paper up? Absolutely. We good? Your thesis statement is your first full paragraph. Then we're going to hit return. And then we're going to keep on going with what you really believe is our first full paragraph. Because we trained you that paragraphs should have at least 4 sentences in them. So typing up a 2-sentence paragraph right now, you should find really strange. But it's your thesis statement. In our court of law right now, we are going to prove that this whole book is about loneliness. That this whole book, every character is absolutely pitiful because they don't have a friend. Except for, and here's where you're going to want to use it, guys like us. You're going to want the guys like us little story that George and Lenny love to tell each other. Because there are no other guys like us. Everyone else is pitiful, they're alone, but worse yet, they're lonely. Very good. Do you have your thesis statement down? Okay. Go to part 2. Part 2 is your real, what you think of, your first full, I love how I thought that was touchscreen. Part 2 is your first full paragraph. Okay? Part 1 is your thesis statement. Now part 2 is your first full paragraph. Yes, sir. About what? Did you type your thesis statement underneath the report name? What's that? Absolutely. Great question. Can I change report name right now to Mice and Men? Heck yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, they're right in here. And the back door is open. Get that cool air in. Now, while some people might be still typing up their thesis statement, still change the report name to Mice and Men right now, if that's what you like. Still trying to figure out how to italicize.
That was pretty.
Personal challenge. I don't want you, I don't want this to stop you right now in your rough draft work. I will change it or show you an alternative way to change it. But my personal challenge is, do not begin a sentence with a, an, or the. Oh! There are so many more interesting ways of beginning a sentence. And I believe I have well-trained all of my people in here that absolutely, yes, of course you can't begin a sentence with because. Because I said so, comma.
Oh my God, that.
Amen, you should listen.
Claw.
Okay? You can. So, personal challenge, although I don't want this to stop your train of thought in the rough draft process. We don't want to begin a sentence with a, an, nor the. Now, of course, you're going to have some sentences that begin with the in your rough draft, but I'm going to make a beeline to that sentence, come over here and show you a prep phrase that could have started that sentence, and we're going to fix it in our finishing process, okay? Do not let, she doesn't want me to start a sentence with the to stop you thinking and stop you writing. Just keep writing. We'll fix it later. Keep writing. We'll fix it later. Don't worry right now in a rough draft process. I don't know how to spell this. Keep typing. Keep writing. We'll fix it later. Don't worry about, I can't remember every single comma rule that she's ever said in my whole life. Don't worry. Keep typing. We'll fix it later. Okay?
Or just do like
A rough draft can be real rough. We're getting our thoughts on paper. That's the most important thing right now. Are we ready to talk about our first full paragraph?
I just did
After the outline?
I just did like the outline.
Yeah.
There are paragraphs, so.
All right, you're saying outline, but you're on pages. Did you just type your thesis statement
Yes.
from the outline? Perfect.
So we just did
And then
that.
we'll write-
and then
Prepositional
do-
phrases worked for me.
After that, do we go to a new paragraph?
After that, go to a new paragraph.
Okay.
May I show you an example? Because I think we all learn from examples. We don't make a mistake. Guys, you don't learn until you make a mistake. Otherwise, as many of us know, you're just practicing perfect. Okay? So, let's go back to Isabel's. So, another thing that we're going to want, you're going to need one quote in every paragraph. Because, and I really don't have this type of personality in this class, but I have had to fight it before in other classes.
This should have called the bullet of rabbits and not of mice.
You have to have, listen, you have to have a quote from John Steinbeck in the book to prove your point. Your quote is going to be your evidence that backs you up and supports you. So in every paragraph, we are going to want at least one quote. Now, the reason I was talking about this class and your personalities and what I don't believe I have to fight this year, I have had classes who have said, well, I said it, you should believe it. Okay, just because it's your opinion doesn't make it right. Like, I want you to give me your opinion when you're typing, but you better back yourself up with some evidence. My husband cannot stand up, yeah, and say, I'm sorry, your judge, but this is just all wrong, and I think my guy should go home. Thank you, peace out.
Yeah, you have to have evidence.
Now, while my husband might want to do that, he's going to work that evidence hard, and your evidence are going to be your witness statements, if you will, are going to be anything that you want to use from John Steinbeck.
Can we use a quote that a
Your
person?
husband's a lawyer?
It must be from the book.
Okay, so like from Danny.
Let me go back to our misery paragraph and Isabel. Here is her first paragraph. You get it? Okay. Very first thing. Listen. If you look at the outline is called the absence of character names. Then underneath that, for part 2, it wants you to talk about the boss. It does want you to capitalize the B in boss. And then it's going to want you to talk about Curly's wife. Only capitalize Curly, do not capitalize wife. Now, you have to follow your outline. You cannot, in your paper, start it off talking about Curly's wife and then talk about the boss. No, no. The outline wants you to talk about boss first and then Curly's wife in this one paragraph. But your topic sentence that tells us what the paragraph is going to be about needs to say that this is going to be, but oh, don't, you are not in 2nd grade. You will not write this. This paragraph's going to be about the absence of character names.
Yeah.
By gosh.
Just to spite you.
I don't know why I just said that like Lenny.
Because Lenny.
You can't do that. Yay, 7th and 8th graders. If you actually, in your topic sentence, tell me that this paragraph is going to be about... Bless you. Bless your hearts if you do that. Bless your heart.
What if we do to
Bless
spite
your
you?
heart. You probably would. So, here is an example of a topic sentence that worked quite well for Heathwood. In this novel, there are 2 characters who do not have names. You got to own it. You're trying to prove this. There are 2 characters. It's not maybe, possibly. There are. I dare you to take that on. You know, that's her attitude going in. Now, she should have capitalized boss. The boss is the head of the whole ranch, comma, here's a quote that she used. He wore high-heeled boots and spurs to prove he was not a laboring man, period, then end quote. We're looking at an example, Bo, I pay attention. Bo, we're looking at an example, I pay attention. I think that's a great quote because he wears high-heeled boots to prove he's not a laboring man. If you're wearing high-heeled boots on a ranch, you're a boss. Okay? That was a good quote to use, and I will tell you over the years, there's not much in this book about the boss. This is our go-to quote. Yeah? I mean, other than that, he brings a gallon of whiskey at Christmas. Like, that's it.
Well, I'd rather hear that.
Well, that's it. Okay. So, she then, after introducing, the boss first, because she should have, he's mentioned first on her outline. Now she's going to go in and talk about Curly's wife and trust and believe. I changed that "the" to something else. The second unnamed character is Curly's wife. Think I don't like to talk to somebody every once in a while? Now, she has a question mark here. You don't need to go into a comma. She's saying that this quote shows that she is lonely and only wants to talk to somebody. It's a good go-to quote. Now, I have a little problem in her rough draft. After "n" marks a punctuation, and I have a little problem, honestly, with some adults who do not or have maybe never been through a keyboarding class before. Ain't no shame, and it's an easy problem to solve. When you, although it really gets on Miss Clark's nerves, when you do an "end" mark a punctuation, typically a period, I need for you to space twice. before you begin your new sentence. End mark of punctuation, space twice, begin your sentence. Okay? Just do keep that in mind. Last year, I spent a whole bunch of time going through their term papers that they sent, told them, please, after your end mark of punctuation, hit space twice. It looked like, that their end mark of punctuation and the capital letter of their next sentence were kissing. That's how close they were. And it was so aggravating to fix. Okay, so keep that in mind. So, I just see it here. I needed another space here. Your eye just floats to it. While, oh, look at her beginning it with an adverb clause. I love it. While she also comes along as a tart, comma. They love tart, though. That was a tart class. They love tart. So there's a comma there because that's an introductory adverb clause. She got the eye going all the time on everybody. Then she has a period, end quote. I'd like another space here. Even though they say she is a tart. Okay, honestly, that's an introductory adverb clause. I need a comma. They never show a scene where, got a spelling typo there, she is flirting to someone. Now that's what Isabel believed. But you could argue, yeah, there's that time that she walks in and she's like, hey everybody, hey, isn't it soft? You want to feel my hair? Okay, so some of y'all are going to be like, Isabel, you crazy. She totally flirts all the time. You do not have to agree with her. So, she says she is just lonely and looking for somebody to talk to. Even though it may come off as a flirt, comma should be here. So see how she's like, wait. I know you're thinking that she's a flirt, but I don't think she's a flirt. So let me go ahead and address you not agreeing with me. Even though it may come off as a flirt, comma, she just wants to talk to someone and not be cooped up in a house all day long. Everyone always judged her before they got to know her. And that right there is prejudice. When I judge someone before I get to know them, I'm going to look at this girl and say, she's just a flirt, she's just a tart, she's just a floozy, all these names they use in the book. I want to get to know somebody like that. But then, the way Isabel saw her is when you actually stop and listen, you realize why she's doing that flirting. You realize why she's coming across as a tart or a floozy. Yeah, jailbait set on the trigger, according to George. And you're like, I feel so sorry for her. She's just coming on too strong. She is super lonely. Like, this girl needs maybe not a real hug, but a virtual hug, or a hey, how you doing sometimes. Want a glass of lemonade? Something. She has no friends. Now, I told you that I have had classes that look at Curly's wife a little differently. They did not like her and they did not forgive her last year. But year 4, we were pretty evenly split on people trying to not make a decision on whether or not I like Curly's wife. They were trying to understand her. Understanding why somebody does something is not making a decision to like them or not. That's something else. I just want to know, why did you do it? Like, what's up with you? Why? So they were really trying to come to an understanding of her and be a little bit more open about why she does what she does. And then, honestly, for them, it came down to, I don't know if I would like her if I ever really met her or not. I don't know. But I know why she is the way she is. She's super lonely. Are you ready to start your very first sentence for your very first paragraph, your official first paragraph?
My bedroom.
Your term paper, so far, it has already, let me get your thesis statement back up. already mentioned that in our thesis
We've
statement.
already mentioned that in our feedback.
Have we mentioned Steinbeck's name in our thesis statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Then we don't need to keep saying it. Doesn't our reader know? And by the way, I'm just your checker. Don't you write this paper for me. When you write a paper for a teacher, you don't just close doors to information. You slam them shut. Because you will assume that if you're writing it for me, oh, she already knows that. I don't need to put that in. Yeah, you do. I want you to write this for a sixth grader. Have a sixth grader in mind right now. I heard it. God bless you for choosing that one. I want you to teach this sixth grader what's up about this novel. Because when you do that, you're assuming that you have all of this knowledge, which you do. You start opening the doors to information instead of slamming them shut if you're going to write this just for me. And you're going to be able to teach it. You're going to try to prove to, I heard Parker over here, you're going to try to prove to him
That's gonna be
that
hard.
what you said is right. Okay? And personally, I would pick a very argumentative sixth grader in my head. No offense, Max, but last year we picked you. You ask great questions. But, like a great lawyer, you always make us stop and think, wait a minute, was that right? Was that right? Some people picked Selena last year. Oh, no, I didn't have a music for class. But they're like, wait, Selena wouldn't let us get away with this. It was like the volleyball girls, you know, Maddie and all them. They're like, no, okay, we got Selena. Because she is gonna be on us if we got spelling errors or issues. She's so organized. I'm going back to your outline. Here we are. Can we go ahead and not begin our very first sentence of our first official paragraph with the? All right, Bo, you're right. In our thesis statement, you already have mentioned that we are doing the Book of Mice and Men.
And
You have already mentioned that the author is Steinbeck.
What about
So,
his first name? John?
we can mention that now if you'd like. Our very first sentence needs to say that there is an absence of character names in Steinbeck's novel. Ooh, I like that. Seal it. Yes.
Could you consider Mice and Men a short novel?
Of Mice and Men is known as, are you listening over there? Technically, Of Mice and Men is not a novel. Technically, it is a novella.
How do you spell it?
Novella. Yes.
Only choose
Novella. So, how about short and sweet? There is an absence of character names in this novella, if you prefer that term. You can still call it a novel. Do you like that for a topic sentence?
Wait, I gotta,
Get it.
I gotta erase one.
About that. Wait.
No. The question over here from Selena was, is it too repetitive to say in his novella of Mice and Men? No. No. And I would just keep typing. Honestly, I would worry about italicizing later. That's just me. Because I know that I'm going to proofread my paper and catch the italics and then hopefully catch something else. That would force me to proofread it. Like, okay, I know I need to proofread it to italicize of Mice and Men every time. But do you have a good topic sentence down? Did you make the one that we were doing your own?
Are there more to a name? I guess Curly's dog.
No, this is it. Following the outline. Boys, are y'all working on this? This is a whole bunch of grades. Who's the first character we're going to talk about after your topic sentence? All right, and please capitalize the B in boss. Yeah? Now, I know it's the boss. And I don't want you to start a sentence with the boss. Can't we just say, why don't we just start our topic sentence with there?
Yeah.
Don't want to be repetitive.
That-
One character is, make it your own, the boss. Yes, ma'am. Fancy pants, you gotta make these your own. All I'm gonna do up here is brainstorm. I'm not gonna write down what I say. If you listen, Lee, I will help you out tremendously. Otherwise, you're gonna kind of be on your own.
Wait, what if there's dash?
Why do you want a dash? Do you know that a dash is one of the most common grammar mistakes? I mean, do we really want a dramatic pause?
Yeah.
Are we suddenly going to be dashing and ellipsing things all the time? Dot, dot, dot.
Could we put like
Please don't dash me.
dash me up?
Dash.
How about that?
Zachary Patterson in the dramatic pause. One character with
Why can't
dash
I read it?
is the boss.
It
Now,
automatically does it for my iPad.
why is it automatically dashing?
Look,
I don't
it
know, it just
automatically does it, and I can't. there's no
Oh,
way
wait,
to
is it at, well, hold up, is it at the end of your line?
Yeah.
Oh, what is it dashing? What are the two words?
California Ranch
Did you forget to put a space?
I believe we forgot a space, but that's an awful lot of words to be dashing. That's different.
it's automatic.
Maybe you just accidentally set it to put dashes at the end of every line.
Cali and then Fornia and then Fun and then Canyon.
Yeah, it does it automatically.
Yeah, that's when it's at the end of the line, so maybe
That-
just.
Yeah, that's a different one. That's just the word itself. That's fine. Okay.
I hate when it does that.
Do we want to trust me right now that other than the quote about the boss sharing a gallon of whiskey at Christmas time, that the only other usable information for the boss, if you want the quote, is about the boss wearing high-heeled boots, and that proves that he is not a laboring man. So, if I want to, right now, explain why the boss is not given a personal name, I am probably going to use the high-heeled boot quote because those high heels separate him from the rest of the ranch. And when you separate, use this. When you use it, steal it. When you separate yourself from others, you might encounter loneliness. You're definitely gonna you're definitely going to experience being alone when you separate yourself from others. So if he's one of, other than his son Curly, one of the only ones who's wearing these high-heel boots, then that means he's not one of the boys. And being a boss
Well, he brings whiskey.
can be quite lonely.
And stressful.
Very stressful, very lonely. There's going to be times when you are going to have to go to people and tell them, hey, things are going great, and then you're going to have a great day. You're one of the team. But then there's going to be times as a boss where you're going to have to go up and say, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're doing it all wrong. And then you're going to have a really bad day. You might be eating lunch alone. You know what I'm saying? Okay? Do you want that quote? Let's find it. Yes, sir.
That's really good.
Absolutely. What's my time? Ooh, let's hurry. Let me find that quote for you. Now, I personally like using, not my calendar. I like using Notability. I put all of my novels on Notability, and the reason I do that, 2 reasons. I have my Notability somewhat organized into notebooks for things that I teach boys, but I can search in Notability. Look up here. I searched before y'all came in. Hold up, you can't see.
How much space does that take up?
I looked up the boss. Let me get it where you can see. So, I went to my Notability, I typed in boss, and it pulled up every single page that actually mentioned that word boss. It did a search for me. So now I can go on a page hunt, and I'm going to look for that one quote that I might want to use right now. Are you being forced to use this quote? No. But if you would like it, let me tell you that it's not on that page, page 4. It's not on that page, page 8. It's not on 10. Oh, look. Your quote for the boss is on page, what is that? 11.
11.
Your quote for the boss is on page 11. Here we go. Let me move this wire. And this is one where I did a little squiggly very early on, a couple of weeks ago, chapter 2. I said I have a squiggle here because this might be very important for you for your term paper. Here we are.
I think it was just.
It's highlighted. When you go to quote, I'm having a fantastically hard time teaching young ones right now of what you can and cannot quote because of the word quotation marks. They believe right now that a quote is anything that is inside of quotation marks, which means that it's anything a character says, and that is not true. When you quote from a book, you're quoting anything that might be in the prose. Prose is a fancy pants term for your paragraph. Can you quote a quotation? Oh, heck yeah. Of course. But you don't have to always just quote a quotation. Right now, I've chosen a quote years ago from prose, from the paragraph. It is on your page 11. It's already highlighted for you. And it is, on his head was a soiled brown Stetson hat. I don't know if you want that, but you may include it. And he wore, you might just want to start with he wore, high-heeled boots and spurs to prove he was not a laboring man. Do you want all of that that's highlighted, or do you want to break that sentence into just the last part and quote it? Do you want to put a quote in there for the boss at all? That is up to you. Yes, ma'am. For what? It would, but you bring up a good point, and then we have to go. Everyone, please don't do this. Please don't just type up the quote and put it inside of quotation marks and leave it. Please don't let that be your sentence. Remember, you've chosen that 6th grader in your head. You need to have a little tag. You need to have a little bit of your own words saying this attitude. Here, let me prove it to you. Yeah? How about this? For instance is your sentence, comma, begin quote. He wore high-heeled boots, yada, 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 period, end quote. Just putting that for instance there means, see, I told you. In this whole term paper, your attitude has got to be, see, I told you. I proved it. He's the boss. He wears high-heeled boots. Hopefully not Prada, but okay.
What's Prada?
6-inch high-heel boots. Girl.
He weighs 1 foot.
I know, right? Yeah. get those red bottom high heel boots going on. That's what I'm saying. Little Gucci going on. All right.